You know what I don't love though? Because what the hell is that? You're telling me that he is a man bun? He's had a man bun this whole time. No. Howdy my loves. Welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be finishing every series that I am in the middle of. I did a part 1 to this video, which I had posted a couple weeks ago. And I thought it was so fun. It felt very satisfying to complete different series. And so I thought we could do a part 2. The first series that I'm going to be embarking on is the Ruinous love trilogy. If you guys are unfamiliar, I think these books are such a good one to read in the fall. It is September when I'm filming this. It's hot as hell outside, okay? The weather's not really cooperating with the vibe, but it is fall time. I've just been reading a lot of fantasy series recently. I just finished the Crescent City series, which I'll link up above. I had such a fun time reading that, but I really did want to go back to my roots, and not only just a romance, but this is actually a dark comedic romance. The entire series is basically about very morally corrupt people. These brothers who are all killers. Their wives are also all killers. It's spun in such a funny way that it's honestly hilarious. At the heart of it, the romance itself is not dark, which is what I appreciate. I'm not a huge dark romance girly, but like when the circumstances are dark and the romance is pure, I actually really like that. I have read book 1 and book 2. Butcher and Blackbird features a couple who they're both notorious serial killers. They actually stumble upon each other, accidentally help each other get out of a bind, and from there on, they do a competition to see who can kill a target first. They only kill bad people. The second book is about brother of the guy in book 1 and the best friend of the girl in book 1. Slither and Lark is basically about a hitman who doesn't really like his boss, and he enters a marriage of convenience with a serial killer. She doesn't like that term. She likes to be called a multiple deleter. Those are books 1 and 2. I thought book 1 was so fun. Book 2 I didn't like as much, but it was still a fun read. Book 3 is Scythe and Sparrow. I pray to God I'm pronouncing that correctly. I am really excited to get into this because I have heard that this is a really good book. I heard this was better than book 2. So the summary is Dr. Finn Kane is running from a broken heart, one he hopes to bend in a small town Nebraska far away from his almost fiance and his derailed surgical career. It's a simpler life, head down, hard work, and absolutely no romantic relationships. He wants none of the circus he left behind in Boston. But then the real circus finds him. Motorcycle performer Rose Evans has spent a decade on the road with Silveria Circus, and it suits her just fine, especially when she has the urge to indulge in a little murder when she's not in the spotlight. But when a kill goes awry and she ends up with a broken leg, Rose finds herself stuck in Nebraska at the home of the adorably nerdy town doctor. I really like the premise of that. I think that sounds so fun. So today we're going to be starting Scythe and Sparrow. I just noticed this. If you look into the cover, spoiler much. Why is there a fucking raccoon? Is he proposing to her mid contracting rabies? That would be hilarious. I also didn't realize that there is actually a novella as well. I was just looking on Goodreads and I didn't know this existed. Obviously I don't have the physical copy, but I definitely will be including it in this video. It's called Love and Other Killers by Brynn Weaver. Serial killers versus serial killer in a hot, twisted novella. The annual hunt for Sloane and her vigilante family of serial killers. Track the most cold-blooded psychos imaginable and take them down. This summer's praise Alan Munster, a church-going chicken farmer who slaughters more than fowl. The rules of the hunt divided to teams, devise a strategy, and make a move. The more cutthroat, the better. May the best team win. There's a hitch in the family sport. This year, someone might be watching them. This is a novella. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy the ebook version of this, and so we are going to be reading the 3rd book and then also this novella. Just a little reading update on Scythe and Sparrow by Brynn Weaver. I've been reading this all last night. I'm currently on my lunch break. I have a very nice chicken wrap, a Diet Coke, obviously. I've just been reading my book. Currently at 40% on page 163. I think this book is just so delicious and fun. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Finn Kane. I don't know if it's pronounced Finn or Fionn. I don't know because they're Irish. And Rose is just such a fun time. Like, I think the reason that he likes her so much is because he got his heart broken. He was previously engaged. Well, he proposed and she turned him down. And she was like, "You're incredibly boring." He is suppressing all of like his want for fun because he actually totally forgot about this from the other books. When the 3 boys were little, he was the one who actually killed their father. And ever since then, he like became a doctor, has been trying to be a very boring, nice person to try to atone for that. He's just kind of like been suppressing his killing urges this entire time until Rose walks in and she's just like totally nonchalant about murder. He hasn't like killed anyone himself, but like he's definitely like not turned her into the cops. I think this book is just such a fun time. We met Barbara the raccoon who's addicted to drugs and loves trail mix. We also met the suture ladies who are these little old ladies who are helping them knit a sex swing. It's such a wild ride and I think it's so fun. We still have the open plot of Matthew Branwell, who was the first person that Rose attempted to murder, but it didn't go to plan. She like took one of his eyes out, but he's still alive and he doesn't know exactly who did it to him, but he was abusing his wife and that's why Rose tried to kill him. We've had another successful murder since then, so there's still hope. Let's see what happens with that guy. I wonder if Dr. Finn Kane will step up to the plate and just take care of him, because he's getting a lot more protective of Rose and he's becoming a lot more violent in order to protect her. So I'm wondering if that will be like the finale, the two of them kind of taking care of Matt Cranwell. Guys, let us do a recap on what I thought of Scythe and Sparrow. So I finished this in one day. It was just so addicting. I really liked it. I ended up rating this book 3.75 stars. I thought that this was super mad enjoyable. I am so happy to add it to the rest of my collection. I really, really liked it. I thought it was so good. Fall Halloween vibe read. There was haunted houses, there was cotton candy, there was carnivals. Did I mention that there's cotton candy? There was a raccoon. We stand Barbara. This really reminded me and gave me the same fun, happy feeling that I got from book one, and I actually rated book one the same amount, which was 3.75 stars. Even though she was a serial killer, she really came about it in terms of like opportunity. In the first book, Sloane, where Sloane was like, that was her mission and she was like hunting people down. It felt like Rose just kind of like stumbled upon the worst of men and was just like, I'm gonna take care of this. She's like stumbling around on crutches, has a cast on. She's so unwell, but she had a knife and a dream and she was like, I'm gonna make this work. The fact that Dr. Finn Kane had absolutely no qualms about helping her out. The only reason that I didn't love it was kind of like near the end when they actually ended up killing Matthew. Finn, who actually did the dirty work, and he was like, I have to clean this up. Like, I can't let Rose go to jail. And he ended up calling Leander, who was like a bad guy, but there was a price for that. So at the end, there was like a bit of separation, and I did not love the fact that he was like kind of forced to like be away from her for a while, writing letters to her. Like, that just took up too much time in my opinion. Like, I don't really love time skips in a book that much. He couldn't tell her exactly why he was leaving because Leander was like, you can't tell her. But they all made up in the end. It was all good. I really recommend you read this series. It's so fun. I actually just recommended someone at work this. She was like, I need like a fun little read like for my vacation. I was like, oh my God, read the Ruinous Love Trilogy. It's a dark comedy romance. And then I read this book and I was like, damn, I forgot how dark and how smutty this book is. So hope she doesn't judge me too bad and she still thinks it's like a fun little vacation read. And the next book that I'm going to be reading is Love and Other Killers. Just started Love and Other Words, set after book 3. I'm like 37% of the way through. It's super short. I'm going on a road trip today to Virginia. I feel like I'm just gonna blow through this in the car. I'm at the part where basically the boys and girls have been split up into teams. They're hunting down this guy called Alan Munster, has a chicken farm and is side hustling, selling moonshine. And he's also serial killing as a side hustle. Well, actually, is that a hustle? He's not really making money off of it. Okay, so a hobby. His hobby is serial killing on the side. The boys and the girls have just found his farm. First of all, they're hiking to his farm. Apparently, they're gonna have a competition to who can kill him first. It's in the perspective of Sloane, who is the main character from book 1. I loved her flavor of like menace. Also, I feel like she was the most like distinct character out of this series. Like, she is such a unique individual that I always love reading about her development and her like characterization. And of course, I just love her and Rowan, so like I'm really excited to see her perspective again. It's 2 in the morning. I just arrived to Virginia. I feel like every time I'm in Virginia, I'm just updating you guys on a reading vlog. Anyway, I finished while I was in the car. Super quick read, really enjoyable. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really liked the fact that it was just like all of them together. people with the power of friendship. And I love the fact that like Sloane has like a group of girlfriends, and I love that she also has her brothers there with her. And there were some really good references to book one, like cookies and cream and her piercings, which I totally forgot about. That at the time my coworkers and I had to Google, so that was like a fun throwback. I'm really sad to leave this series behind, but I'm also excited. They ended up introducing a new character and kind of putting an avenue in for the next series. A victim who ended up stalking and thanking Sloane and her group of friends. So Rowan was not too happy about that, but Sloane was like, it's okay, she's not gonna like harm us, she just wanted to thank us. Was it the smartest idea of me to read this when I am staying in an apartment alone? Probably not. In terms of ranking the series as a whole, which is something that nobody asked me for, but I will do anyway, at the bottom of the deck I'm gonna put Love and Other Killers, just because it's a novella. Like, you can't really have that stand against a full novel, even though I gave it the highest rating. Second to last, I'm going to be putting Leather and Lark, because that book I actually rated 3.25 stars. I thought that that Marriage of Convenience just had a lot of plot holes. The second best book, I'm going to put Scythe and Sparrow. I think that book was so cute, other than like the really annoying like time jump miscommunication at the end. Super unhinged. I cannot believe even in this book Rose says ta-da when she's about to someone. The best book in my opinion is Butcher and Blackbird. I just think that that was like truly unhinged. It committed to the bit, you know what I mean? Like, and even though I gave that and Scythe and Sparrow like the same rating, I think looking back on it, I think I would actually change that to a 4 stars. Like, cause I just feel like it was just so fun and I was so happy to get Sloane's perspective again. Best book in my opinion. The next series that we are going to be reading is the Bride series by Ali Hazelwood. I read Bride. This book was so fun. I gave it 4.25 stars. I was just so giddy and giggling, kicking my feet. If you guys have not read Ali Hazelwood, which by the way, absolutely should, you've been under a rock and I'm about to save you. Ali Hazelwood writes mostly contemporary romance, specifically very like STEM forward female characters. She branched out recently and started writing paranormal romance, and I read Bride. This one is about a vampire is forced into a marriage of convenience with the alpha of a werewolf territory, as the tension between the vampire humans and werewolves are always at an all-time high. So she, as a show of faith, is now being forced into a marriage of convenience with her werewolf husband, and all the while she's trying to find her best friend who has gone missing. It is about the romance but also the mystery of where her best friend went. Absolutely did it for me. It was so cute. It's like only the perspective of the main character Misery, but there are like one singular quotes at the beginning of each chapter that gives the male point of view. It was crumbs, but it fed me. Flo and Misery were so absolutely stinking cute together. I had such a good time reading this book, and when I found out that Mate was coming out, I was obsessed. Also, look at this color scheme. The best friend who was actually missing from book 1, Serena, and at the end of book 1 you find out that Cohen, who is friends with Flo, he's also another alpha of a different territory. He is mated to Serena. At the end of the book we don't know if Serena knew it. This is her story and about what happened to her during book 1 and about her being a hybrid. I only read the prologue so far, and what I love is that we still have the little tiny snippets of the male main character. This one from chapter 1, she tore him apart and remade him. It took her less than a second. Tickling you, kicking my feet. You know what I don't love though? Because what the hell is that? You're telling me that he is a man bun? He's had a man bun this whole time? No. I made a TikTok about this and I'll say it again. I just edited it out in my brain. I will not picture you with a man bun. I'm not interested in that. I am 25% of the way through Mate. I'm on chapter 11, and one thing I gotta say, she's not dying, right? She's literally like preparing to die, and I don't mean to laugh. Like, she literally thinks she's dying. She just needs to get cracked, right? Like, that's what that is. If she just shared this with someone, anyone, I feel like they could solve it pretty quickly, but she decides to be a martyr and keep it to herself, which is so stupid. Also, I love the little mentions of Anna. She just lost her 2 teeth, and like Lo and Misery are trying to explain to her about the tooth fairy. Misery is like basically like her stepmom, and like how she's just so like spoiled, and they all love her. Right now, Cohen and Serena like still resisting each other. Granted, I am in the first 25% of the book, so like, you know, Ali Hazelwood's men usually like switch up like somewhere around the 40% mark, but I just think it's like so funny that she's like preparing for her death, and I'm like, you're not gonna die, you're just in the Omegaverse. Like, unfinished mate. This was so fun. I just had a really fun time reading it. It was like a really good book to pull me out of my reading slump. I was just so slumpy in the beginning. It did take me a minute to get into it, but that's obviously just because of the mood I was in. Like between like 20 to 100%, I just like zoomed through that. I got my nails done today. I was reading the whole time I was getting my nails done. I love that Cohen was also Serena's mate, not just that Serena was Cohen's mate. And they got to stay together and he could still be the alpha of the pack. I was so happy. Such a plot twist that her parents were so culty. I just love the scene of her presenting her nest to Cohen, but she was like, I need to rearrange its pillow, like it's not in the right spot. Obviously the nesting scenes were awesome. I really enjoyed those. I love that he ended up being a lumberjack who actually chops wood. Thank God they got rid of his man bun. Holy crap. I am going to be rating this 4.25 stars. They're just so fun. I probably, if I wasn't entering this in a reading slump and I read it more continuously, I probably would have rated it even higher. I totally recommend it. Cohen is such a good book boyfriend. I love when the mate trope is done well, in which it seems like the main character loves his mate even if she wasn't his mate, like he would still love her. 4.25 stars for that. And we are on to our next series. Next series we are going to be reading is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I ended up actually reading the Caraval series, which is the original trilogy that this is a spin-off of. That one is 3 books plus a novella. I thought it was fun. I liked that series. I thought it was really fun. It wasn't like spectacular in my opinion, but it was definitely a very fun universe. This one, I won't say that I was like disappointed by the series. I think I had higher expectations for this series because it was so hyped up as this like amazing love story. I just think it's entertaining. I think it's cute and whimsical, but I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. The first book I rated 3.5 stars, Once Upon a Broken Heart. And then the second book, Ballad of Never After, I thought was the best one. I rated that 4 stars. And this one actually ended up on a cliffhanger with Evangeline murdered and Jax stepping through time to save her. Warned to Jax that if he goes and save her, the universe will take something from him of equal value. And he said, there is nothing of equal value to me. I ended up starting this book a little bit, A Curse for True Love, where Evangeline believes that she is married and in love and the princess to Apollo, the person that she spelled into loving her, I believe. I like remember almost nothing from this series. When I read that Evangeline had amnesia, I was like, oh good, we're both on the same page. Everyone is on the look for Jax. Apollo told everyone that Jax killed him. They need to search for him. He's the reason that Evangeline doesn't have any of her memories. I just want Jax back in the picture. I don't really like Apollo. Alright guys, so we have finished A Curse for True Love. I actually really liked this book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. So whimsical. Like it had a lot of the elements that I loved about both Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is that I think that the magical elements were so cute and like cozy. Curses, storybooks, and like different legends had almost like a personified quality about them, that like they were living and sentient. I also think the romance in this was so finally fulfilling. Like the fact that at the end we finally learned curse that Jax has is not that the person who kisses him and survives is his true love, but the person who kisses him and survives was never going to love him at all, which is why it was Donatella who survived, because she was in love with Legend. And I just loved that element. And also the fact that Jax finally confessed that like he traded his chance at true love for Evangeline living, and he was just willing to sacrifice that even though she didn't have any memory of him. I thought that the ending where Apollo ended up choosing immortality and sacrificing Evangeline, really it was himself that he loved the most, and I call that. I loved it when at the end he like wanted immortality knowing it would kill her, and the tree, the immortality tree, took him instead. I also want to know more about the Valors. Like they reminded me a lot of the original family. Like if you guys have ever watched Vampire Diaries, Aurora reminded me a lot of Rebecca, and I wouldn't mind actually getting a spin-off about them. I'm hoping that Stephanie Garber was teasing the fact that Castor / Chaos was going to get a story with Lala, who is Evangeline's friend. She is a fate. She is fated to be the unwed bride. I hope that means that we're not done with this universe. I am finally finished with this series. This has been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, so like I'm really glad that I finally finished. Obviously, I have more series to get through, and that's not all the series that I have in my possession. So if you want to see another video of me finishing every series I have on my shelf, please let me know. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Look at her style from the street. Look at her style from the ghetto.